the class here now. So we have two homework due tonight. 5.3 and 5.4 is due tonight. The next week is going to be 5.5 and 9.1. Also next Tuesday, you have a midterm. So again, I'm going to point out to you guys about your midterm tests here. Where was it at? I just have it. Okay, maybe I just put something. All right, so your midterm test is going to be posted in D2L right on the announcement next week, I will email it to you to the school email address. So make sure you guys check your email on D2L. So make sure. So this is the midterm that I'm talking about just now. So it's going to be next Tuesday at noon. So I probably post this around 11:30 before noon because I have a Zoom meeting at noon, so I might not be able to post it during the time. And you have 24 hours to do so, and it's due on Wednesday, October 14 by noon. It will cover chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9.1. So it's a take-home test. You got 24 hours to do your take-home test. Its midterm is 30% of your final grade. Please check your college email, or I will post a test in D2L. So please either check your college email or D2L. Either you print out the test or you write on papers. I want to see work. I do not want to see just your final answer. If you give me your final answer, I give you 0. I won't accept any late test. So if it's noon, it's noon. But if you send me like around 12, 15, 30 minutes later than noon, I'm fine with it. But if you send me after that 12, after around that 30 minutes time frame, then I will not take it. Please make sure that your test, once you finish, you have to scan it with your cam scanner. If you have your cam scanner with your smartphone, or use your scanner at home. I only take PDF file form. So please, 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 I already told you guys since the first week of class, if you haven't done this before, please, you still have time. You still got 1 week left. Get the cam scanner, scan some documents and send it to my email, so at least I can see what's going on. Either you get it or not, because at least you have time to do it now. If you still need help with this cam scanner, you can stay after class today and I will teach you how to do it. It's not that difficult. So anyone have any questions with your midterm here before we start with your homework here? Anyone? Anyone have any questions for me with the midterm? It will be around 15 questions, 15. Some of them have parts A, B, C. So so we'll talk more about it. If you have time today, we definitely go over those the questions for your midterms here. If you want to review for your midterms, go under the textbook or the ebook that you have, and go to the very end page of chapter 5. So when you go to chapter 5, to the very, very large, almost towards the last page, where it says cumulative test for chapter 3 and 5. So if you go, should I click it off? I would recommend you to do this cumulative chapter 3 to 5. So if you go all the way down to this cumulative test for chapter 3 to 5, I would recommend you to do this. This is just for chapter 3 to 5. 9.1 and 2.6 and 2.7 is still there. So I would recommend you to practice this one. Okay, this is something that I would recommend you practice. All right. Anyone have any questions with your midterm before we talk about your 5.3 and 5.4? Questions? All right, let's talk about 5.3 question 31. Okay, this is all 5.3. So we talk about 31 here. So if you have any questions, please put under the chat room, or please put it in or ask me, because I can definitely help you with that. So so the question 31 here is given as log B. 3b to the power of -4. Okay, and it's given us that log B2 is this number, and log B3 is this number, and log B5 is this number. So the question is asking us how we do log b3b to the -4. So the first thing we're going to do in this case is this -4, you can bring it up front. So what we have in this case is -4 log b3b. So first thing what I did here is this one of the rules of log properties. You can bring the log up the power up front as long as this whole thing is in the same power. Next, next of the property of log is if this is multiply, you can separate this, and the separation is a plus. So don't forget, multiply means you plus. So you will get log b3 and log bb. Okay, so this I will separate this and it become plus. This is one also the properties of log. And now what we do is we replace. So we still have a -4 here. We replace by log b3. Log b3 is given us by 0.5646 plus log bb, because these are the same power, so they can cancel out. The same base, actually, they cancel out. So the power here is 1, so you get +1. So what you do next is take out your calculator and then add this first, because orders of operation, you have to add this first. So it's 0.5646 plus 1. And then after that, multiply by -4. Gosh, I don't like my calculator. So -4 times 1.5646. So your answer is -6.2584. You cannot round. You have to put all the decimals, no rounding here. So it's -62584. So this is how we do question number 31 here. So make sure you guys know how to do this. It's very important. As I say, it's in your test. So this is how we do question 31. So now we're going to do the last 2 questions that Grace asked me. So if you have any questions on 5.3, you can ask me now. So we're going to do 35 now. So 35 in this case is asking us to write this, to condense this as a single log. So that means you have to do 1 log in this case. So it's kind of like what we did in 31, but we're doing it backwards. So that means that if you see any number in front here, we put it back into the power. So if you look at this question, this 9, this 1/5, and this 5 is all in front. We put them all in power. So you will get log 9x9 plus log 9y to the power of 1/5 minus log 9 of z to the 5. Okay. So what we do next is we kind of do the opposite of what we did last time. If you see multiply, we add. So we see a add here. That means that these 2, you will have to multiply them. And we see a subtract, means we have to divide it. So in order for us to write this as a single log, so this has to be a log 9. And then you will get a big parenthesis here. So x9 will be here. Y multiply with y to the 1/5 because it's addition. And then subtract means we have to divide it with z5. Okay. Now a lot of students put this answer in here. They will mark it wrong. The reason why that if you put your answer is correct, it's not wrong. It's just the reason why they mark it wrong is because of this, because of him. Okay. If you remember, if you have a fraction like 1/2, this is the same thing as a square root of x. So for this reason why is wrong is because we have a fraction here. So what kind of root do we have for the y in this case? Anyone know what root we have? So if you have half, it's a square root. If you have a third, it's a cube root. So this is actually is what kind of root? Grace, what kind of root is this? So this is the root 5, yeah, fifth root. So in this case, this is gonna be log 9 x9 to the fifth root of y, it's y, it's not x, all over by z5. So this is the answer for question number 35 here. So this is number 35, this is the answer. Questions? 36 is the same thing. You have to condense this log. So again, if you see any power up front, you move it, a number up front, you move it to the power. Or in this case, I just distribute my 6 first, it's easy. So it will become 6 ln z plus 6 ln z plus 7. And I have no room, I just minus 3 ln z minus 7. So I just distribute my 6 inside, and then as usual, all this number in front of the ln, I move it up to the power. So this 6 will be in here. This 6 will be in here. And this 3 will be in here. So I just move all this 6 to the power. And as usual, like the same thing as 35, if you see addition, we multiply. If you see subtraction, we divide. So in order for us to write this as a single ln, so we will have z6, z plus 7 to the power of 6, over by z minus 7 to the power of 6, fact 3, 6. And you do not need to FOIL this or distribute this. This is your answer in this case. Questions with this one, anyone? It takes a long time to type this in your homework, actually, because there's a lot of fractions and powers and ln in this. Questions with 35, 36, with this section 5.3? Anyone? Anyone have any questions with this chapter 5.3 before we move on to 5.4? Okay, no. Someone have something. Not okay. Let's talk about 5.4 now. So anyone have questions on 5.4? I'm gonna start a new case. Grace, are you okay with this? Grace, are you all right with the last 2 questions you have? Yep. So 5.4 is the next one. Do you guys have any questions on 5.4? I got 26. Someone asked you about 26. I will do 26. You need calculator for 26 actually. Anyone have any questions for me beside 26? I know some of you have question 26. This one that we did. And 5.5, you also see question 26 again, similar. So when you go home and you do your 5.5, you still kind of get this. All right, 26. This is a demand equation for a smartphone, means that so P is your price and X is your demand. So the equation is given us by P equals to 5,000, 1 minus 3 over by 3 plus e to the negative 0.005x. So this question is asking us is how you find x when p is 147. So what you need to do with this is you just substitute your P to become 147. So you will get 147 equals to this whole thing, 5,000. I just use this whole sign. Same thing as everything down there. Okay. So does anyone here know how to solve for X in this case? This is very important. Anyone know how to solve for X in this case? What's the first step you do? Anyone? What do you do firstly? First thing you do is... Anyone? Anyone what to do next? First. Hello? Andre? Hanan? Parker? Ryan? What's the first thing you need to do here? Hello? Yes, not move 147, but Parker is correct. You have to divide by 5,000. So every time when you see something like this, that means they are multiplied. So so what is the opposite of multiply is you have to divide. So this is your first thing to do is you have to divide by 5,000. So this is gone. Okay, so you have this 147 divided by 5,000. So this is going to be 0.0294. Now you have this whole thing inside the parentheses. So what's the next thing you do? Again, you have to solve for X here. Next, make sure you do this first, divide by 5,000. What's the next thing you do is get rid of this one. So how do we get rid of this one? We have to subtract 1 here. Okay, so I take this 0.20294 minus 1. So you get negative 0.909706. Can you round your answer here? Can you guys round this answer? Can you round this to 0.97? Can you round this to 0.97? Not forget the 06 behind. Can we round that? Yes or no? Can we round that? No. Yes, you are correct. Everyone is correct. No, you're right. You cannot round. You can only round your answer at the very last. So if you round your answer here, you will get wrong. Okay. Then the next thing is because they both have negative, so you can divide by negative. This has become positive. Okay. So what's the next thing we do once we finish this? This is tricky. Okay. So pay attention here. I'm going to tell you what's going on. So because our X is in the denominator here, so in order, and you've got a number here. So in order for us to do this is we interchange. We interchange your 0.9706 here with the whole thing in the denominator. So what do I get when I interchange it? I will get 3 plus e to the negative 0.005x, the whole thing in the denominator. This is equals to 3 over by 0.9706. So what do I do here is you interchange. You can only interchange like this if you get a fraction equals to a fraction. But if you have like +1 like this, you cannot interchange. You have to get rid of this one. Like this one that we see here, you have to get rid of it first before you interchange it. So what we do next here is you can use your calculator to figure out what is this number is. So we will divide. So we take 3 divided by 0.9706. Again, bunch of decimals. Can you round these decimals? No, you cannot round these decimals. So it's 3.09, blah, 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 blah. Cannot round, no rounding. Next, in order for us to solve for x here, I will subtract 3. So I got e to the negative 0.005x. And this one is easy. You subtract 3 here. So you get the 0.090 back. No rounding. Please do not round this number. Again, if you round, get it wrong. So next, we need to get rid of e. So what is the inverse of e? What is like addition? Inverse is subtraction. Multiply, inverse is divide. What is the inverse for e? This is very important. So make sure you guys know this because this is how we solve it. So how do we get rid of e? Anyone know what is the opposite of e? Grace, Andre, Ryan? ln, yes. So every time when you see e, to find the inverse, you ln both sides. Yes, that is correct. So this is all in ln now. And then what you do is, because ln and e will cancel, so you just left with negative 0.005x. So what do you do next is I divide negative 0.005. So x in this case, now you all calculator. So ln of this icky number. So you got all this icky number that we have here. So I'm going to ln it, which is going to be this. And then I'm going to divide that with negative 0.05. And that came down to be 479.66 something. Now, this is your final answer. Now you can round your answer. So the question wants us to round to the nearest whole number. So what is the nearest whole number for this 479.66? Whole number means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no decimals. So what is the nearest whole number here? 400 and what? Everyone? Anyone? 480. Yep. So your answer in this case is 480. So this is 480. B is the same thing. So B, you have to repeat the same thing, but this time you have to replace 147 with 280. So it's a repeat of everything. It's just so what you do is just do the same thing, but now you replace 147 to 280. So I leave question B to you guys because it's very similar to question A. So you will get once you get this again, you only can round your answer at the very end. You cannot round your answer somewhere in the middle here. Okay. Anyone have any questions on 5.4 besides this 26, which I know some of you will ask me in the. Anyone have any questions on this? Otherwise, I pick one and you do it for me because I want you to know how to do it, especially in the test, because in the test, you will get this. Anyone have any questions for me? All right, if no, I want you guys to do 32 now. All of you do question 32. Do question, mine 32, not your 32. This question 32 is in your midterm next week. And private message me the answer. All of you do 32 and private message me your answer. If you get it right, I will say you get it right. If you get it wrong, I will say you get it wrong and try again. Do I say this is in your test, in your midterm? Right? I did mention that, right? So that's why I want you guys to do it. Do 32 for me. Oh. You guys know how to private message me in the chat room, right? Don't put it as everyone. Just click 2 and then click my name. And then send me what's your final answer. This is in your test next week. Guaranteed. Not like this, but similar. Very similar to this one. See how you know how to do it. See how many we got. You guys are super quiet. You can ask me any questions you want with this question 32. Like where to start. If you doesn't know how to start this question, you can ask me. I'll show you how it looks like. So if you guys doesn't know what to do, this is kind of like a video for it. For this question. Next section 5.5 is word problem, and we will definitely going over the word problem today. Very good, Ryan. That is correct. Not -1, but yep, that is Parker is correct. Ryan is not -1. I think it's not this. It's -4 should be. Should get the answer and a -4, and the -4 is extraneous. You're correct. Parker, you're correct. Good. Third time saying this. This is in your midterm next week. And looks very similar to what we just did here. I will really highly recommend you to know how to factor. Like right here, the factoring should be easy. Andre, Grace, Hanan. Ryan and Parker is correct. Ryan, make sure it's not -1, okay? Not like this one. This is total. This is the one that we're talking about. Grace, Andre, Hanan. And then we talk 5.5. I'm gonna get 5.5 ready for you guys. Yep, Grace is correct, but you won't get full points if you give me this. Yep, it's fine. Andre, I understand it. Yep. Grace, there's something wrong with your answer, Grace. It's not fully correct. It's correct, but not fully. You will lose a point, Grace. Do you see what happens in this example? What happens to this -1? Why they cross? Yes, that's much better. Okay, so make sure you guys know why they cross out the -1 here. That's what Ryan say is extraneous. That is correct. Extraneous is correct. Good. How many of you here today? Only 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my Lord. We'll see what happens in the test. Hanan, are you there, Hanan? wave or say something if you're there, Hanan. I know Andre is here. She's trying to solve it. All right, we'll till 2 o'clock, 1 more minute. Then I need more time. Yep. This is the, at least you are here, Hanan. At least you reply, I'm okay. And you're trying, that's good. I want, you guys are trying and you need more time. I understand, at least you guys are trying here. All right, so I'm gonna go over this because again, we don't have time to wait. So make sure you guys know how to do this. And then so first thing first, what we do here is if you look at this example, is they combine. So you have to make this as a single log, like what we did last time. And when you see addition, addition means multiplication. So when you write this as a single log, this is going to be log 6 x times x minus 5. And this is equals to 2. So this is what you guys do first is the addition become multiply. So you take these two argument here and you multiply them. Next, because this is very, the way that the video shows kind of tough, but it's not that difficult. It's just what we call as move your base. So what I mean by move a base is this is your base is 6 here. We want to get rid of this log. So what do I do is I move this base up there. So the log will be canceled. So this is actually will be 6 squared. And 6 squared is the same thing as 36. And then here you have to distribute your x inside. So you get x squared minus 5x. So what we do next, once you get into here, is this is a quadratic. So we have to make this equals to 0. And you have to factor it. That's what they do over here is they make it equals to 0 by moving the 9 over. So what we do here is we move the 36 over. So what we have in this case is x squared minus 5x minus 36 equals to 0. And this is where you get into this form here. And then next we have to factor it out. So what times what is 36? And you need to get a negative 5 in the middle. It will be negative 9 and a positive 4. Because this will give us negative 36. And when you add this, you get negative 5. And then what you do is you set all this equals to 0. So you get x equals to 9 and x equals to negative 4. So this is where Grace gave me this answer. And as I told her, or everyone, if you give this answer, you will get 1 point off in your test. It's correct. It's not right. Everything is correct. The reason why is you get a point off here is because of him, the negative 4. Because if you have a log equation, you have to check your answer. You have to check your answer for extraneous solution. How do we check your answer? Is plug it into your x. And you cannot have a negative answer here. And you cannot have a 0. So I don't care what log or ln is. So if your log has a negative or ln is a negative or a 0, this is no good. So what we do is we plug 9 into here. So log 69 is good, and 9 minus 5 is positive 4. So this log 9 here will work because it is positive. But what happens when you put a negative 4 inside here? You find out they all become negative. So this does not work. So this is the extraneous solution in this case. So your answer in this case is 9. You guys all right? You guys doing good? Again, these kind of questions will be in your midterm next week. All right, next we're gonna talk about word problems. Yep, good. I'm good. Understood. Very good. So I'm gonna do some 5.5, and again, 5.5 is very, very difficult because they're all word problems, and you got 3 of those in your midterms. 2, not 3, 2. Yeah, 2 questions. So I'm going to show you how to do one of them. It's called half-life. Okay. Where's my half-life? Right there you go. Question 8. So a lot of you will ask me this. So right now I'm going to do this for you guys. This is 5.5 in your homework, question 8. Okay. And why I'm concentrating on question 8 is because it's in your test. Okay, your midterm next week. So what we're doing here today, you're lucky because 5 of you guys show up. I don't know how many watched on this in YouTube. So if you did watch it, good for you because it's in your test. And guess what? You can rewatch it over again when the test comes. So so half-life. So when you do a word problems, the word problems, I'm going to show it to you here. We have 3 types of, we have what we call as exponents model. So you need to know some models here. So if you have a growth model, the growth model is going to be PERT, P-E-R-T. So this is called a growth model. A decay model is also like PERT, but it is a negative. So these are the 2 most models we will be using in our class. So if you guys want to talk about your test, we will concentrate on these 2 models, the growth and the decay model. We don't talk about the log model or the logistic growth model. Yes, there are, but there are such models, but these are the 2 models that we use a lot. Okay, so when you talk about interest, simple interest formula, population growing, bacteria is growing, we will use this growth model. When you do the decay model, like half-life, like medicines and stuff that go down, then we will use this model. So they are kind of similar. One is positive and one is negative in exponents. Okay. So in question number 8 is where you talk about what we call as a radioactive. A radioactive in this case is a decay model. So a decay model in this case, it looks like PERT. I like PERT, so I'm going to use PERT. But the negative, the only difference about the decay model here is your power here is negative. Okay, so what is APRT? A in this case is your final amount. P in this case is your initial amount. So they got the initial, see the initial, and this is called the final amount after that. R in this case is your rate, and T in this case is your time. Okay, so what we need to find first always is your rate. Okay, so when you have when you have word problems, the rate is not always given to us, not like 6%, 8.5% that we always get. So how do you find rate? So for decay model, please pay attention. Especially is a half-life, which is what we are doing here now. The rate is very easy to find. The rate is ln 0.5 over by your half-life years. Why we use a 0.5 here? Does anyone here know why we use 0.5 here? This is very important because it's not in your textbook, it's not in your videos if you watch it. Anyone know why we use 0.5 here? Because of half-life. Yes, half of the mass. You are correct. It's half-life, half the mass. So this is the half-life. So that's why it's 0.5. So for this case, your half-life years is 5715. So your rate in this case is ln 0.5 divided by 5715. Okay. So in this case, if you have a calculator, there you go. I'm going to clear this whole thing up. All right. So if you do this 0.5 ln of it, and then divided by 5715, this came out to be this weird number. Can you round this number, class? Can you round this number? Again, as usual, is this your final answer? This is not our final answer, so you cannot round it. Don't forget they got e to the negative 4. That means that this is going to be negative 0.000. So when you have a negative 4, it's like a scientific notation. Means you got 4 zeros in front, and then you got 1, 2, 1, 2, 8, something like that. No rounding. You have to use all these numbers. So, but this one already has a negative inside. So if you put this negative in there, you make it positive. It's no longer half-life. So what you do is that this negative, you can erase it off. Because if you put another negative in there, you'll make him positive, which is not going to be good. Okay. So what is the half-life? What is the formula in this case is A equals to P E negative negative 0.0001212 all these decimals with T. So now this is a new formula. So what we do with this formula is now we plug it in. So it's given us that the initial quantity is 39.5, means this is 39.5. And amount after 1,000 years. So your time in this case is 1,000 years. So you have to find A. So A in this case will be 39.5 e to the negative 0. Times 1,000. So if you have a nice calculator, you can type all this inside, and you can use ANS. A lot of you will have this button called ANS. You can type it over here. Okay. And what is ANS in this case? ANS is your previous answer. It means that if you got this answer previously, you just need to type it in there. So what do I do is if you have a very bad calculator like mine, so what do I do is I need to multiply this by 1,000 first. And then I need to take it to the E. Where's my E? There you go. So E to the power of that. Ugh, I don't have ANS. That's the reason why. Do I have ANS? No, I don't. I hate this one. Okay, I don't like my calculator. E to the power of parentheses. I'm going to use this. ln. What was that number? 0.00012. I don't know what number we have. 12128 something times. This is what happens when I have a bad calculator like this one. And then you multiply this with 39.5. So again, this answer is wrong because I round it. So it's 44.593. Yeah. Oh, this is wrong. Sorry. I'm not going to use my calculator. I am not using him because this is sucks. All right. Take this one. If you have a calculator, a better one, hit that. Right. Download new calculators here. So 39.5 to the E to the power of. Anyone got an answer here? E to the ln.5 divided by half-life is 5715, I believe. Times 10, times 1,000. This is supposed to be 34.988. So this is what I typed in. So make sure you guys know how to type this in your calculator, because this is what the test will looks like. So it'll be 34.988. So 34.99 in this case. Yes, you have to round. You only round it at the end here. You only round. This is the part you can round. Any place you cannot round in this case. Okay, because once you round it, you get it wrong. So that's the reason why that some button have an A and S button here. You see the A and S. So this is the button that you use, and that means that you use your previous answer. So what do I do is first I do the ln 0.5 divided by 5715. Wish I got all these horrible decimal numbers. R. How do we enter the R value in the calc? What do you mean by so what we do is this is my R value, right? Negative 1.21 something something, right? So what do I do here now is I take 39.5 e to the, so when you do e to the, you use your answer times 1,000. So this is what happens to your calculator. You do 39.5 e to the ANS times 1,000. And what is the ANS? ANS is that ln 0.5 divided by 5,715. So you will get this 34.988. Parker, you guys you have to take out your calculator and try to do this. Who did not get 34.988 like what I just have here? Please raise your hand or let me know. You might have to undo your video so I can see what you type in there. Anyone here did not get 34.988? Parker, you got it? I will strongly use the ANS button because what is ANS means is your previous answer. So Brian got it. Parker, Grace, do you guys got 34.988? Like what I have here? This is important because a lot of students doesn't know how to do this. Good, good, good. Andre, Hanan, you okay? So this is how we do this question number. Good, good. Yes, very good. Do I tell you these questions in your midterm next week? Okay, I didn't tell you, but now I told you, right? So, yep, so this question will be in your midterm next week. So make sure you guys know how to do this one. Okay. Questions with this. This is question 8 on 5.5. Again, no rounding until the end. No rounding. Please do not round anything. You only round at the end here. Okay, and use the ANS button in your calculator. I think all your calculator ANS, right? Except for my computer calculators to have ANS button. All right, guys, good? Before I move on to the next one. Okay, all right, I'm going to move on to the next one, which is number 9. Also is coming up in your final midterm tomorrow, next week. Okay, so it's given us this graph. Please pay attention. Okay, it's given us this graph, and the graph wants you to give me the exponential model. Okay, so first thing you need to know, is this graph a decay or a growth? Anyone know, is this graph showing a growth or a decay function? This is a growth function because it's going up, right? The decay is going down. So this is going up, it's a growth function. So the growth function in this case is PERT. Okay. But only thing different here is I will erase the A and the T and change it to become Y and X. Okay, so it's like PERT, but I changed to Y and X. Okay. So what we do here is you have to figure out what is your P is and what is your rate in this case. Now the P is very easy to figure out by looking at your graph here. This is your P. As you know, P stands for initial, and initial means where it starts, and this starts at half, which is right here, half. Okay, so P is known. R is the one that we have to figure out, and you cannot use, like last time, ln 0.5 over your half-life. You cannot use this. It's because this is not a half-life problem. So what do you do here is you have to use this coordinates 5, 7 to figure out R. This is your X, this is your Y. So what do I do in this case is I take all this plug it into this equation. I take P is 1/2, plug it into this equation, and I find R. So Y in this case is 7. P is 1/2. I can do 0.5. It's easier. E to the Rx, X is 5. 5R. So this is the equation, and we need to solve for R. So does anyone here know how do we solve for R in this case? What is the first step to do? How do you solve for R? Do we get rid of the 0.5, the E, or the 5? Which one should we get rid of first to get R by itself? Yes, usually we always start with dividing the whatever your P is, that 0.5. Okay, what's next? E or 5? Which one should we get rid of? We should get rid of the E next. And how do we get rid of the E? We do the opposite. What is the inverse of E? How do you counter E? Like multiply is divide. E, Grace, you told me earlier on. Ln, yes, you put Ln here, yes. And you have the Ln both sides. So this whole thing is going to be Ln. Ln and E will cancel out. And finally, how do we get rid of this 5? We just divide this by 5. So I want everyone here to take out your calculator and punch this inside. And make sure that this is inside your Ln. That means you need the parentheses. No parentheses, you get it wrong. So I want you guys to go ahead and type. Yep, use your calculator. Give me your R. I'm not using mine because 0. No, not 25. I don't get 25. I do not get 0.25. That is wrong, Parker. Can you redo it? Recalculate again. Make sure you have your parentheses closed. No, not 2.639. No. Yes, that is correct, Ryan. Is 0.5278 1 la 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 la. Huh? What is 1166? Not 11465. Make sure you know how to use your calculator to calculate this number. So it's not that difficult to calculate. So make sure you have a parenthesis and closing parenthesis right after the ln. And then after that divide by 5. Do you see that? I want you guys go ahead and try it again. Make sure your answer is that, Ryan, not 11, well, not that big number, is 0.52. This is a correct number. Grace, Parker, you guys got it? Hanan, Andre? Okay, good. Grace got it. Parker got it. Hanan, Andre? Yep, good. Hanan? So what I do next is I just take this and plug it inside my R and this inside my P, and that's my answer. So my final answer in this case will be Y equals 2. That's why they say Y equals 2. P is 1/2, or you can give 0.5. E to the rate. This question wants you to round your answer in 4 decimal place, which is 5278. Power to the 0.5278. X, don't forget you use X, not T. So this is your answer in this case. So you take put it in here. Okay, so it's 1/2. What happens to it? Oh, I don't know what happens to it. What happens? Yep, just type. That is how we do this. I don't know how we do. It's not typeable. So you guys doing all right here with this one? You don't have any questions? Next, we'll talk about there's no, let me see, what can I do about bacteria? I don't see any bacteria here. Sorry, I'm looking for questions that you can get. Oh, we can talk about this one. Yep. So last question. So this is also the last question here. Are you guys all okay here with that? We are going through 5.5 here. So because this is mostly a lot of students will ask me. So this is more like what problem. So question 21. P in thousands of a certain city from 2000 to 2000 is modeled by this model, where T is correspond to year. T equals to 0 means 2000. In 2006, this population of this city is 1.930 million. 1.930 million. So find the value of K. So what we do is a lot of students will plug it into this equation. P equals to 1,654.3 e to the kt. So the question here is asking us to find this K value. So we can use this to plug it in. So can someone tell me what is my T for 2006? It says if it's 0, it will be for 2000. So for 2006, T is, yep, T is 6. Then the population means your P, that's your population, is 1930000. So can you plug all this inside here? Is this correct? Plug T6 here and 1930 here and then solve for K. Is this correct? This is wrong. Yep, a lot of students did that. Plug this inside there, plug T6 and solve for K, and you get it wrong. Anyone here know why this is wrong? No, this whole thing is wrong. That's the reason why a lot of you ask me this question in your homework, and you get it wrong. Anyone know why this is wrong? Grace, Parker, Andre, Hanan, Ryan. Yes, Parker, you're correct. Thousands. Yes, your P is in thousand. This is not in thousand. So what you need to do is you have to cut that 30 off. So this is correct. So plug it inside here, inside this equation, and solve for K. So my P is 1930. 1654.3 e to the kt. My t is 6, so it's 6k. So how do we solve for k in this case? As usual, what did we did last time? Should we get rid of these decimals, the e or the 6? Which one should we get rid of first all the time? We always get rid of the p, the initial here. So we always divide this by 1654.3. Kind of notice that it's always kind of the same thing when you solve this kind of exponents equation. You always get rid of this number first by dividing. And then as what Grace says, in order for us to get rid of e, we ln both sides. Yes. And then put this in a parenthesis. Make sure you have to parenthesize that. And then how do we get rid of this 6? We divide this by 6. So now you guys have to use your calculator again to figure out k. It's kind of the same thing you figure out k using last time. But this time, make sure you put a parenthesis. I want you guys to take out your calculator and find the k. Yep. Make sure you know your parentheses. Everyone take out your calculator, do it, and give me your answer. Your k. And the answer you need is in 5 decimal places. I want 5 decimal places. So take out your calculator and figure this one out. Yep, that is correct, Parker. Grace, rounding is round. Wrong rounding. Can you round it again, Grace? This is what I got. 0.0256903, so on. So in 5 decimal place, it's just this. This is your answer here. Because the 0.3 is too small to round. So Grace, the reason why it's wrong is because it's not 70. Okay, so it's 0.02569. And then the question is asking is this population is increasing or decreasing? It depends on your K. If your K is positive, it's increasing, like a growth. If your K is negative, then it's decay, negative. So since your K here is a positive, it's gonna be a increasing. So K is positive, it is increasing. Okay. And then next question, question B, you have to use this model to predict the year 2010 and 2015. So if you want to predict the year 2010, means your T in this case is 10. And then for 2015, your T is 15. So you have to find the population. So P in this case is 1654.3 e to the ANS times 10. So what is ANS? ANS is this K that you just found in your calculator. So you do not need to reset the whole thing. You just use the ANS. If you don't use ANS, you have to type in all the decimal places here. So that's the reason why that use your calculator. So I want everyone here to take out your calculator again and start to figure out what is this number is. Make sure you use your ANS times 10. And the parentheses on top if you have. So what is this answer will be? Everyone take out your calculator and do this. If you don't have ANS, you have to type 0.0256903. So they want this in, let's see how many decimal places. 3 decimal places. They want this in 3 decimal places. So it's 21.38.878. Yes, that's correct. Okay. So so you put it right over here. What Popular just type in 2138.878. Okay, and then you do the same thing for 2015. You just that one I leave it to you. You just replace your 10 here to 15, and that's how you do question 2015. And then in 2000 in part C, they're asking you what year the population reached 2.4 million. So in this case, how do we do part C is 2.4 million is 2400000. This is 2.4 million. This is your population. And as usual, if you remember last time, when we have this kind of population, I have to cancel the 3 zeros. Same thing over here. In order for us to plug in this, you have to cancel that 30 because your population is in 1,000. So what you do here is you just plug it back into the same original equation here. So you got 2400 as your population. 1654.3 is your initial population. E to the K. K in this case, I have to use all these decimals, 0.0256903. The reason why I cannot use answer here is because my answer previously is this answer, which is going to be wrong. And then I don't know the time. So this is back to the same thing we just did last time. How do we solve for T in this case? Is first get rid of this number. So we would divide this. 1654.3. And then how we get rid of the e, I will ln both sides. Make sure to put parentheses on this. This is gone. And then how do we get rid of this number so that t is by itself? We divide by all this icky number here. So you get yourself a t here. So go ahead and use your calculator. This, as I told you, the word problem here is all very heavily on calculator. So if you do not know how to use your calculator to do this kind of questions, you get it wrong. And the reason why you get it wrong is because you round something like what I just did early on here. Might be wrong. We'll see what happens if I put it down. So if you use your calculator, this is going to be 14.483, somewhere around there. But if you type this in, if you type this answer over here as 14.483 or whatever you got in here, they will mark you wrong. It's because that is not the year. Okay. So can someone tell me what year is it when your t is 14.43? 2000 and what? Because this is a time, it's not a year. So the year is 2000 and remember last time 2006, you used t is 6. 2010, t is 10. So this time is 2014. Yep. So in this case, your answer in this case is 2014. Okay. They don't care about the decimal, so you don't put the point something behind. You guys all right here with question 21 that we are doing here? Okay. So these are a few questions that I always get questions with, and also you will see this in your tests. Okay. So make sure you guys know how to do question 21 that we just did just now. Also, the graph that we just did, this one, question 9 that we just did, and also question 8, because there will be some, these are the questions you get in your test here tomorrow, next week. All right, so that's it for today. I'm going to stop sharing here. So does anyone doing all right here? Anyone have any questions? I'm going to stop recording here.